Welcome back to Tactical Pontoon. Tonight we are going to talk about the Polymer80 lower parts kit. Now, when I heard the Polymer80 was going to do a lower parts kit, I was kind of iffy about the whole deal after seeing what Lone Wolf puts out. And a lot of times, and this is one of their locking block or trigger block housings with the dog on the side. That right there, these are literally dogs. For example, in Facebook groups, Instagram, you see people that have problems with their Polymer80s. It's not quite as prevalent nowadays because the prices of the Glock parts, lower parts kit have actually come down considerably. Used to be you could save about 20 bucks by getting the Lone Wolf parts kit versus the Glock parts kit. And so you saw a lot more people doing that. You know, they wanted to save some money, build themselves a cheap Polymer80. I get it, but a lot of times it ended up costing them more money because they would have issues. And most of the time it was the trigger block housing or one of their connectors causing the issue. Put the factory stuff in, it was normally good to go. So when Polymer80 said they were going to do their own, and I've heard about it for a while, wasn't too sure. It hit the market a couple weeks ago. I been busy. I didn't get a chance to get it right when they first came out, but I got a hold of Chris Flores at F&F Firearms, had him send me a couple kits so I could take a look at them. And when it comes to Polymer80 stuff and SIG 80 stuff, and just about anything, hit him up. He has some really good prices, excellent customer service, and really cool guy. So F&F Firearms, I would link down below, but it is YouTube. They don't really like me doing that anymore. So go to my Instagram, and you will find you'll find a link to him there. Okay, now let's take a look. Calm down, you two. I'm busy here. Dogs. So, what do I think of their lower parts kit? It's a complete kit. It's really I know it's kind of a cool thing that they included the slide lock spring for not only like the polymer, the Glock 19 size, which is probably be the most common. They also included the one for a Glock 17 or full size, as well as their CL model, which uses a little coil spring. Let's see if it'll show up here. Yeah, they include the coil spring, so you only have to buy one kit and it's going to take care of all three sizes. Pretty cool. I like how they did that. It includes your pins that you need, your mag release, as well as the mag release spring, your slide lock, and your slide stop. All of those, you know, they're not aftermarket pieces per se. They're not like real flashy, but they look like they'll get the job done, especially for their price point. Pretty much every part has their logo stamped in it. It's kind of, I thought that was neat. Let's see if we can get that in there. Lighting is terrible. Really need to fix that. Wow. There we go. Polymer80. One of these days I'll learn how to use this camera. Kind of rusty. I was never very good at it anyways. So, let's, you know, that's the basic stuff. Let's look at the trigger part, because that's what I was more interested in. Now, it comes with a flat face trigger that's already assembled and on the bar, as well as a curved face trigger that is unassembled, and if you want to use that, you'll actually have to take apart your flat face trigger and switch over the trigger dingus. Most of you guys probably aren't going to do that because, you know, flat's where it's at now, right? I don't know. So When it comes to the trigger design itself, it actually replicates the factory trigger in travel, both over and pre-travel. There is no reduction of any sort. They literally copied the tolerances of the factory trigger. That's not a bad thing. It's gonna go in there, it's gonna do what it needs to do, and for its price point, that's not a bad thing, especially when you get a flat face trigger for that price. As for the trigger bar itself, it's actually manufactured pretty well. It's about 3 thousandths thinner than the factory bar, which really isn't anything. When it comes to the finishes of the working edges, like the vertical extension, the cruciform, and the bird's head here, or bird's beak, if you will, the finishes are actually superior to what I see in a lot of the factory stuff. So actually, you probably can do less polishing and get away with a better finish quicker. Really, the trigger bar is it's good. I don't really have any issues with it. Like I said, it's a little bit thinner, so should you have to do any adjusting, bending, be careful, because thinner metal, you could break this even easier than a factory one. But actually a really nice looking piece. The next thing up, we have the locking, or the trigger block. Now the trigger block is pretty much a copy of the Glock trigger block. It's damn close, except for it's got the P80 stamped in it, which we can't see because I'm terrible with my camera. And let's just skip to the ejector. Oh my God. Can you see? The ejector actually has Polymer80. There we go. Stamped in it. Is that not cool? Isn't that something? They went all out. As I said, it's pretty much a copy. There's not a lot of difference. I know I've got one here that I could see. It's pretty much a factory trigger block housing that stamped Polymer80. Putting it down in a Glock frame, I did not use a Polymer80 frame when I tested this. I used a Generation 3 Glock factory frame just to, because it was easy and it's what I had in the shop. Now, no issues there. It worked. The next part we'll look at would be the actual connector that they send with it. I believe, because I looked at these really close, the machining, or the tool marks on it, where it was cut, if it's not a factory unmarked 5.5 pound connector, they did a damn good job of making it look like one. And being that everything else has Polymer80 stamped on it, I would almost say that they went ahead, and this is a smart thing, they went ahead and got a Glock unmarked trigger connector. So no surprises there, nothing special there. When you add all this up together and you drop it in a frame, you're looking at about a 5.5 pound trigger pull, depending on how the rest of your stuff is set up. With all factory stuff, with a factory striker spring, with their lower parts kit in there, I was getting anywhere between a 5.5 pound to almost 6 pound trigger pull. It's nothing special. It's, you know, nothing out of the ordinary for what you would consider a factory trigger. So really, as an option at its price point for a flat trigger that mimics factory, I'd have to give the Polymer80 lower parts kit 2 thumbs up. This is an initial evaluation. I'm still going to put some rounds down range with one of these kits in its factory form. And, well, you know me. I couldn't leave well enough alone. So I took the first Polymer 80 parts kit that I had, and I did a little bit of work to it, because while it was okay for factory, I don't run factory, and I kind of well, you know what? Let's save this for another time where we can do an actual video on just it. So, Polymer 80 lower parts kit with the flat face trigger. Normally I recommend buying the Glock factory stuff, especially on a brand new build where you might need to do some troubleshooting. I can legitimately say that the Polymer 80 lower parts kit is a good option. It replicates the factory parts well enough that I would have no problem recommending it. And it went in my gun perfectly fine. It functioned perfectly fine in dry fire. I will be doing live fire testing here very soon, and we'll update if things change, as well as you know, if maybe I'm going to do something special with the Polymer 80 lower parts kit as kind of a all-in-one performance build. So this has been Tactical Pontoon for tonight. Polymer 80 lower parts kit. Yet again, do thumbs up. We will catch you later.